to help you get more done with less stress and less overwhelm. So today I wanted to talk to you about time management versus implementation, because I hear a lot of people talk about they have poor time management skills, when really, once I dig in with them and figure out what the actual problem is, it's really an implementation skills deficit that's showing there. It's not really the time. Like, they're slating out time to work, but they're not actually implementing. And so I wanted to kind of talk about the difference and how you can recognize that within yourself. So if you find yourself sitting in front of your computer, you've got time, to work on something, but you have no idea what to work on, that is when you may seriously have an implementation problem and not time management. You already slated out that time, but you're sitting there not knowing what to do. And so I wanted to just kind of go over, this one pain point, because I hear it a lot. I sit down on my computer, I have no idea what to do, and then I spend my time, on my cell phone and doing other things, and then I get done and I think, well, I did work, sorta, but I didn't get the things done I wanted to get done. And so I think that one of the ways that we can do that and accomplish that is taking a top-down approach to your business. And what I mean by that is, if you actually look at what you're trying to work on, you might be jumping right into trying to implement something when you don't even know what it is you need to implement. Like, you haven't broken it down into the actual tasks that you need to do, right? And so if we were to look at a case study, for example, like let's just look at something like creating a lead magnet. Let's say you start a business and the first thing you want to do is create a lead magnet in your business. Well, that one lead magnet is going to require a lot of different things. But if you just jump in and start trying to create this lead magnet, you're going to mislead yourself into thinking, one, that that's all there is to it. And two, if you haven't planned out what that lead magnet is going to do and the goal of that lead magnet, you may find yourself creating way too much for a lead magnet, right? Like, you give them not the Reader's Digest version of something, you give them the full-blown, massive, encyclopedia on how to do something. And so by looking at everything from the top down, it'll help you start looking at things and knowing when you're ready to implement. So thinking about that lead magnet, let's talk about what would be involved in actually creating a lead magnet. If you have no website, you're just starting out, you've never done anything else, starting a lead magnet is only one part of it. The other part of it is creating an opt-in page, a sales page, even if you have a website already. But when you're creating that sales page, you might also need to choose colors, fonts. You might need to create a logo, something like that, right? And then you've got to write the sales copy. You need to find images that are compelling, or create those images that are compelling for your viewers so that they can go to that page and actually be enticed to sign up for whatever it is that you're offering. So that's just one piece. And we haven't even talked about the lead magnet itself, but you can see when you look at that one list, you're talking about having some sort of software to build your page on, either, lead pages or a website platform or an all-in-one platform, something like that. Having a place to store your lead magnet so that you can link that when you deliver that lead magnet. And then, having some sort of a form that they can fill out so that you can capture their email address, load it into your email provider. And that's a whole nother thing, right? Is to have an email marketing platform. You need one of those as well. And if you haven't done all those things, you can see all the extra work that must go into doing that. So itemizing those things out will help you to get down and drive it down into the tasks that you actually need to implement. So one of the tasks would be, you got to find and figure out which email software you're going to use. You got to find and figure out what a website platform or lead pages, whatever type of software you're going to use for your sales page. And once you get all that decided, then now it's getting into, do you know how to build a web page? Do you know how to use your software? There's a learning curve there, right? And so breaking those things down into these smaller pieces will help you do estimating and prioritize which of those things are most important. And you can also leverage those really good productive periods of time that you have where you know you're most productive in a much more efficient way, because you've already broken everything down, you've already planned, you've already figured out about how long it's going to take. So now you can look at all the tasks that you need to do and their priority and how much time they're going to take, and it'll be easier for you to select from your list exactly what you want to do in that period of time that you have to sit down and work for the day, right? So nobody can be productive all the time. So that knowing when you're productive is really big part. Notice I said when you're most productive. Knowing that most productive time in your life is really key to getting those really important things down. In fact, Stacy Tuschl, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she is she's wrote the book, The Implementation Code. And one of the things that she says is to utilize those first couple of hours when you start work to work on the most important things that you're working on, like your projects and things like that, because that time is probably going to be your most productive time. But that's not necessarily true for all people. Some people might take a little while to get started, right? And then once you get started, boom, you're in and you're started and your head's in there and you're not worrying about other things. But that danger of checking your email first and doing all those other things first can be a productivity killer, right? Just like Craig Ballantyne says, win the morning and you win the day, right? So he always talks about that morning routine and how productive and how that is such an important part of time for you. It is for me. I wake up early between 5 and 6, and I work my best in that period of time between like 5 and 8 o'clock in the morning. That is my best time when I work. And so finding that in your own behavior patterns can really help you to be more productive. And then the other part of that, finding that productive time, is also finding that time when you're not interrupted all the time, right? You got, things going on, spouses and, kids, or social media, phone calls, all the different things that come up in your life. And, those are, there are periods of time when that happens more, right? Which is one of the reasons why I like to get up so early, because then I have that quiet time in the morning when nobody's awake, everybody's sleeping, even the dogs are not ready to go out and run or do anything. They're just still kind of sleeping. And I have that time to be fully focused on what I'm doing. And then when we get into the implementation side, that was the time management side. When you get into that implementation side, now you want to look at that top-down approach, because oftentimes we think, oh, I'm going to create a lead magnet, and we just jump right in and start working on it, not really knowing what all the whole plan is, right? We don't even know what the plan is. And so starting from that top level down and walking through the path that your user will walk through, with your client will walk through, is really going to help you, right? Because if you think about what they're doing, if you're doing a lead magnet, well, they're first going to see some sort of a social media post or something that's going to drive them to that sales page that you have that opt-in on. And then you have that sales page that you have to write. Then there's a thank you page after they complete their little registration form, right? That form has to be there. It can't just be like, oh, here, get it. And then there's no way for them to get it, right? And then there's the thank you page. And then there's that email sequence, right? Now you have their email address. You're going to have to deliver that lead magnet some way. So you can deliver it, in lots of different ways. One of the most common ways is via email. One, it helps people get into the habit of opening your emails, but two, it's just an easy, convenient way for everybody, including your customer, to get that little lead magnet that you have promised them. And then you can start emailing them other things and talking to them about other stuff as well. So that email part of it is a big piece of it, and has to be set up and be part of it before you you get started, before you can actually launch and release this lead magnet that you want. So when you dive into those little pieces of creating a sales page, for example, I already went through the list, right? There's a bunch of things that you have to worry about when you're creating that sales page. And that's when you really start breaking into the detail of what actually needs to be done. I need to write copy, a sales copy for my lead magnet. I need to be able to describe my lead magnet. I need to be able to communicate in a way that my customers understand me, right? You can't just slap it out there and say, here, get it. You have to write some stuff so people know what they're getting, right? And so having that, having that drill down process before you even start can really help you get more into the actual task that you need to do, rather than just having this elusive sort of non-specific thing of like, I want to build a lead magnet. There's like a million parts to, well, not a million, but there's a bunch of parts to building a lead magnet. And so you want to drill down and keep drilling down until you know what the actual tasks are. Then when you sit down to work, you know exactly what you need to do, and you're actually at that task level, and you're creating all the little pieces, and you're creating small milestones for yourself, right? So you finally get that sales page done. Boom, you've hit a milestone. You got that done. Now you're getting, the thank you page done. Boom, that's another milestone. And on until you get the whole thing mapped out. And that little workflow that you created, where you had the customer looking at your social media posts, step 1, step 2, viewing your page, step 3, registering, step 4, the thank you page, step 5, checking their email, step 6, reading that email, opening it, reading it, clicking on it. Those are all the steps, right? And you need to make sure that you have all the pieces in place for them to successfully move through those steps. So taking that approach of walking through your customer's experience as they move through your offer, whatever it is, free or paid, doesn't matter, will help you identify all the pieces that you need. And then those are parts, right? Those are like the bigger parts, a sales page, a thank you page. And then within those parts, you look at all the small little pieces that you need to do. And that's where your tasks are born. Okay, so I hope that helps you. If you want to learn more, you can sign up for my free lead magnet. It's called Take Charge of Your Time. It will help you to leverage your own behavior so that you can start managing your time better. And then you can take advantage of our Take Charge of Your Biz challenge. That's a really great challenge for you to start learning how to, now that you understand how you're using your time, to learn how to implement. Okay, so check it out. You can find it at thescrumshop.com/time-management. Actually, I think it's just time management. I'll be posting it in the comments here so you can get it. So be sure to check it out at scrumshop.com, and you'll see it there on the front page. All right, thank you. Take care.